Okay, let's go over here and I'll show you our European style. It's called meter by meter trellising. Now the windmills, what they are, the wind machines are mostly for frost. You get a frost during, and you're only looking at generally during set, when the flowers are forming on the little clusters. If you get a frost then, it's going to burn those and you're not going to have a harvest. So if we could keep that cold air moving, because cold air going to the lowest portion of your vineyard, it's going to decimate your vineyard. But what we want to do is keep them moving, the wind moving, so we'll turn on the wind machines and you'll see the horizontal ones, the big golden ones, the horizontal ones, they'll keep it moving like this, and the vertical ones will push the warm air that you've mixed up with the cold, push it back down on the vines. We'll also use cover crops, and the cover crops are going to be like a little insulation blanket and not let that cold settle on the ground and put those temperatures into the ground. We're going to want to mediate that temperature by cover crops. So that gives us a couple degrees, and that's all we need here. We use legumes, we'll use different type of rye. In the old days, you used, a lot of people used the mustard, i.e. mustard festival, which was a day in the old days. Now it's a month. But what happened with mustard, mustard is a nuisance. And you have to use different agents that don't allow you to go green. So what we learned to use is different rye and legumes and other nutrient-based, especially nitrogen-based cover crops that are going to keep us green and not have those weeds in control, because weeds you're going to have to use an herbicide or something else to knock them down, because they'll leach all the nutrients, and they're leaching your water that you don't need to be leached. You want to hold those for the grapevines. Now this is what you would see the European, but you see how much further ahead they are? These are cab, just like this out here. Now you'll see out here, they're mostly green. You see these, how purple they are? Because that influence of the ground heat is propelling them about 2 weeks. So if we did that, this would be ripe much sooner, and we don't want that. We want to slow it down. Now this year is a little different. We're having to actually knock out some of the foliage to allow more light in, because we're about 3 weeks behind on this vintage. This will probably be the latest vintage we've ever had. But so we're able to use other techniques to help now get more light to the grapes and help start to ripen them before. Even this year we're kind of worried, because we'll get close to the rain period with that 3 extra weeks. But if we get past that and don't hit that rain and get them in, this will, everybody's talking 99, 2005, and those are great vintages here in Napa Valley. And it looks like this is going to be one of those vintages of the decade. Sure. What will you use them for? Well, these actually, all this area in here was on this meter by meter trellising for our cab. And what we did is ran a 20-year test pattern against this style to make sure if this would have come out with better flavors and more intense flavors and longevity on our aging, then all of our great vineyards would have been on this, but this won out. We were able to set the flavors and create consistent, balanced wines off of this type of vintage, this type of vineyard. And so now all of our canopy and all of our vineyards are set on this style. So it's like a research? It's a research project. And now this is a smaller research project, because now Dolores planted our organic garden. So you can see here's one of the bird houses, but they're spread out throughout the vineyard. If anybody wants to, you could take a look at the grapes on the clusters, and the ones as they get more transparent, they're starting to pick up sugars, and you could see the ones that look a little more golden, a little more transparent. Try one of those, even though they're a little tart. You're starting to see, if you pick a couple of those, you'll see one is already gets a little pop of sugar into it. And so try a couple and kind of look at the berries themselves and look the ones that are getting more light, and try a couple of them. And if they're kind of a little more soft, and you'll get them, and finally you'll pick one and it'll be a little sweeter than the rest. And you're seeing Eurasian just at its progression right now.